Our first stop in Georgia had been Cumberland Island, and we really enjoyed exploring there for a couple of days. We even got one last look at some of the wild horses hanging out on the beach as we headed back towards the ICW. Cumberland Island had been a great homecoming to the state we both grew up in, and now we were ready to see the rest of the coast by sailboat. Later that day, as we turned up the Brunswick River, we saw the really cool Sidney Lanier Bridge. We headed under it on our way to our next stop, Brunswick, Georgia. All right, we made it into Brunswick Landing Marina, got tied up. Looks like a cool place. We're gonna stay here for about a week. This is the city Lindy was born in and lived here through elementary school, so she's pretty excited about being here. And hopefully we will get the diesel problem sorted out too before we leave. So that's another reason for staying a while, and exciting. It's our first Georgia city. So we'd always heard the legend of the marina in Brunswick that offered free beer. And then they even mentioned that when we got here, that there was free beer in the cruisers lounge. But still, we're wondering, could it be true? We're going to find out. Doubtingly, we approached the cruisers lounge and headed inside to check it out. There we go. It's the marina lounge room, and it is. It's the free beer. It's amazing. Brunswick Landing Marina is a really cool place with a really nice cruising community. We had a blast hanging out with the other cruisers here during our stay. What are we going to do now?
So we're going to head over to downtown Brunswick for their first Friday celebration. The shops are open late, and there's a live band, and who knows what else. We're going to check it out.
Sounds like a great time. Let's do this.
I'm going to find my baby, go my pistol start to pop, and I'm going to get my baby.
Brunswick is a beautiful historic town with lots of things to do and see. Lindy showed me all kinds of neat places that she remembered from her childhood, and we made some new cruiser friends hanging out at the marina. Good morning from holiday. We have left Brunswick Landing Marina after a nice week there. I actually solved that diesel leak myself. I gave it one more crack and I got it, so that was awesome. And now we're sailing out the Brunswick River. We're heading over just about 12 miles to St. Simon's Island. There was just enough wind to sail, and we peacefully drifted with the wind towards St. Simon's. And it looks like there's going to be a pretty sunset tonight. So today we are going to take an excursion into St. Simon's. We dinghied by Epworth by the Sea over to the Free City docks. There's 7-foot tides here and it's at low tide, so quite the hill. We're going to head into downtown St. Simon's, the beach area. We hit the King and Prince for a snack and then headed out for a long beach walk down to the lighthouse. Of course, our long beach walk had us ready for some refreshments and some yummy oysters. It was a great day in St. Simon's, and then it was time for some dinner back on holiday. So I'm getting the grill heated up out here. It's a beautiful night. I was grilling steaks to go along with some leftover fried shrimp and shrimp and grits from a restaurant the night before. Surf and turf, my favorite. This looks delicious. Some leftovers and some grilled steak. Let's just say I had a classic Zach overeating session. I'm so full. Check this out. Being miserably full, I decided to distract myself by watching a beautiful sunset. St. Simon's was a really cool spot, but it was time to get away from the city and head to the Georgia marshlands for a few days of secluded anchorages. As we entered the marshes, we began to notice a few unwanted visitors. Horseflies began to visit with ever-increasing frequency. Always ready to defend Lindy from biting pests, I went to work on them. Seriously hurting the population of horseflies around here. Whoa, here's a bunch of them. Despite the bugs, the scenery around was absolutely beautiful. And believe it or not, these horseflies were really more interested in just landing on our bimini than biting us. Obstacle of today's transit, aside from all these horseflies, is the Little Mud River, which we're entering as I speak, and it's apparently really shallow and people go aground in it. We successfully made it through, and we even saw a couple of alligators laying on the banks. Oh yeah, there's an alligator. Wow. Soon after the Little Mud River, we neared Sapelo Island and our anchorage at New Teakettle Creek. New Teakettle Creek. So this is going to be pretty cool. We're just going to anchor right up here. This is going to be a crazy place to spend the night. Wow. In every direction for miles and miles, all we could see was the grass of the marshlands. We just had a bug eradication party on the inside. We've got our hatch screens ready to try to keep the bugs on the outside. We've been anchored here for a couple of hours now, and it's just the prettiest place. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly, still in peaceful dreams I sing the road leads back to you. Georgia, I find. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Leaving Kilkenny, we continued along the ICW through the rivers of the Marshes for another full day. Near the end of the day, we passed by beautiful Skidaway Island as the marshlands gave way to the areas around the city of Savannah. We anchored in the Herb River for a couple of nights while we planned our strategy for visiting one of our favorite Georgia cities. We decided to move to the nearby Thunderbolt Marina as our home base for visiting the area. Made the turn around the corner out of the Herb River back onto the Wilmington River, and now we are tied up here at Thunderbolt. We got fuel and a pump out. Looks pretty cool. We decided to head straight for River Street, a really awesome area of Savannah.
And risky. Ta-da!
You made it! The town is full of these squares that are green spaces with beautiful twisty live oaks and historic monuments. Then, after looking around the city for a while, we headed for one of my favorite Savannah restaurants, the Old Pink House. If you ever come here, don't eat in the normal upstairs dining room. Take it from me, go downstairs to the tavern in the basement. We had an amazing meal at the Pink House. Another highlight of Savannah was visits from family and friends. We got the whole King, Dent, and Warren clan on holiday. Old-time friends from Georgia and my parents came over for a visit and a tour on holiday. So this is probably will be the most people that's ever been aboard Holiday before. Not just since I've owned it, but since it's been a boat since 1980. Hey kids, what did y'all think of Holiday? Was it fun? All right.
And they're all sleeping in the quarter berth.
Yeah. They didn't end up sleeping in the quarter berth, but we had a great time. And then it was time to move on. Moving on from Savannah meant leaving Georgia. Our next stop on our trip along the ICW would be in South Carolina. Here we are crossing the Savannah River to the other side. As we crossed the Savannah River, our return trip home to Georgia came to a close. It was awesome to see Georgia from the water, and I'm sure we'll be back to see it this way again.